Yo, what's up? We're doing another tutorial, this time on run cycles. Again, we'll be using Adobe Animate today, animating a stick figure and using the onion skins, which I turned on just there up at the top. Um, yeah, so I'll be doing three different run cycles. Um, well, I'm actually going to have the character running across the screen, so it'll be cool. It'll be a lot of different frames instead of just repeating the same frames. I'm going to be drawing them one by one. So we talk about this run cycle. It's more of a, I think I did some variation in this one. I'm just going to be like normal talking over a screen cap I recorded and it's sped up to 200%. But yeah, so we got the air pose here. I'll talk through it here, where he's actually jumping and his arms are fully extended at this point. And then we got a little bit of a contact pose back on the ground here. Arms are slightly coming back in. And then the passing pose, which is the most important in my opinion. It's just, this is how you're like alternating, you know, your arms and legs, and you got to make sure the passing point is, your legs should be passing, your arms should be passing, and it should be pretty that simple. And then he's back into a launch pose, back into the air. This is a fairly cartoony run, I would say. There's a little bit of bounce to it. He's obviously, I think I'm doing a little bit of a variation here where he's coming down. And I think we're gonna start speeding up here a little bit, getting lower to the ground, um, kind of just having fun with it. That's the cool thing. Once you get kind of like the contact, the passing point, the launch, the air frame where he's jumping, the jump frame, you can kind of play around with that and stretch it and however you want and kind of have fun with it. Here's a contact pose that's pretty low to the ground. And then I'm pulling in the passing point where he's kind of pretty far in, and then yeah, just kind of getting real low and yeah, just have like I said, having fun with it, and that's run cycles can be fun. And once these are all done, I'll actually put the video back to 100% speed so you can see what they look like in real time. Everything's gonna look a little fast here when I play through it, so yeah, I'll work on that part. But here's this one complete as he's running across. It's a little bouncy. He's a little sticky to the ground. Again, that's at 200% speed. So, but I think it's a decent way. Like I was trying to get some variation there. This one's kind of fun because I I did this one because it's literally a 3 frame run, and I wanted to show people that this is probably the most minimalistic run you could do, and it's a little bit of a ninja run, kind of like a Naruto run, I would say. But it's literally 3 frames. We're talking. You got the passing pose, the launch pose, and we're kind of combining the contact and the air pose. Um, I would say like right here that's serving as, a little bit, yeah, between the launching pose and the contact pose, like it's almost implied air, but he's just like running so fast that just um, he's kind of passing that. Also, I got a little bounce in the head. Like the head's not straight all the way across. There's some variation in that where he comes up and down a little bit as he goes through it. And I'm literally just copying and pasting it across just to show you that this works. And it's really just for fun. I think I played around with this one a long time ago, trying to just always see what you can get away with. And I think this one actually works. And it's probably the most minimalistic you can do with 3 drawings. Again, 200%. I'll show you all at the end. It kind of looks funny at this, but it works. And here's the last one I'm gonna do, and this one is um, kind of where he's alternating arms. I think I messed it up a little bit. at first. No, I fixed it. I think I went back and fixed it. But yeah, so in this one, it's going to be a little bit like the first one all the way through, but he's going to be, I think I kind of cleaned this one up. This is probably one of my preferential runs. It's still a little cartoony. I always like a little bounce in my runs. I mean, they're stick figures. It's kind of cool. But I can talk through this one. It's going to be pretty consistent throughout. We got the right arm and left arm kind of moving in the front leading arm, kind of moving in different motions. So this one's coming in and they're kind of hooking a little bit. And it gives that perception of, I don't know, it's a fun motion for a run. Um, and so obviously we have the jump pose up in the air here, um, the launch pose, the passing pose. We have a nice contact pose, bringing that arm in as he's coming down. Um, so it's kind of like gyrating a little bit inwards and then right here coming in, getting ready for that passing pose here with the contact pose. And then we got the passing pose, which all of his limbs are passing his core and his basically his frame, right? And then here's the kind of the launch pose. Arms are out again. This time his left arm is leading. If you're going, yeah, his left arm leading there. And I think on the first run cycle, I didn't really alternate the arms. I just kind of went with it. You can kind of make them just keep going up and down, and it works that way, but this gives it a little more of a dynamic. And this is where I messed up. I accidentally inserted a couple frames and I ended up deleting a couple frames from the first two cycles. So I had to go and fix that real quick. Wasn't hard to do though. Again, at the end of the video, I'll have all of the run cycles playing on loop in real time. And don't be afraid to just draw your frame out and then scoot it around as needed, right? I mean, I'm kind of eyeing this. There's a lot of theory and stuff to the arc of the poses, kind of how the arms are rotating in frame, like and different, like as they are getting closer to the passing point, they kind of slow down, and then the spacing between the arms jumps as the character launches and stuff. I kind of just I've been doing this run cycle for so long, I don't think too much about that, and I just go with it. But after you practice enough, you kind of get the gist here. Again, here's a launch pose, alternating arms once again, leading with the left, leading with the right. Kind of this one's coming to an end. Sometimes get that back elbow up really high just for fun. There's a contact, and then I think we have one more frame after this, pulling in that arm again, a little closer, and then we got the passing point to end. And so that one, it's a little harder to see at 200%, but the arms are rotating, and it really is kind of a fun cycle. So I should say not rotating, but alternating. Going through it frame by frame for you here a little bit, just so you can kind of see. And of course, you can play around with the in-betweens if one of the cycles isn't feeling right. I would play around with spacing, adding more in-betweens, taking away if needed. Always depends on what frame rate you're running at, but I'm running at 24 here. So I actually decided to draw the scarf just on this third run cycle I did, kind of show you my quick process. Again, I draw the scarf all on one layer, And again, like as it passes the limbs, I just kind of eye it for the most part. Um, yeah, and so it's again, it's quicker this way. It's not so I don't have to switch layers. Pretty straightforward when you're animating this scarf here. I'm just I'm just animating it kind of like up and down as he goes down. It kind of follows him. There's a little bit of like a an alternate toss up. So this one's pretty easy. He's coming down right there, that frame where it's kind of in the middle, kind of between a up and a down. You can just give it that little bit of an S curve on the scarf. Just kind of feel it out. It'd be pretty similar to animate a tail, right, or like a waist fabric. So I realized here that I'm alternating arms, and so I had to redo everything. So I want that's his left arm leading, and I want the scarf to go over his back arm. I got some dimension here, and the scarf actually helps with that dimension. And so right here, he's leading with his right arm, so the scarf will actually be behind his left arm. So I wanted to make sure I had that nuance in here. Again, there's an example of me just drawing on one frame, kind of the pass through. Um, wasn't feeling that one, so I had to redraw that quick. But yeah, just kind of, making minor adjustments as I go. As far as bringing up the scarf, I think the higher you bring it up on the launch pose where he's like beginning the jump, I think the higher you bring it up there, the more cartoony it's going to look. I mean, it's kind of like it just kind of depends. I think at some point it if you bring it up too high, obviously it's going to look a little off, especially if you're going for a speedy run instead of like a kind of like a up and down jaunt. It's like if you're trying to go for a really fast run, you're going to want to have a lot less variation in that scarf's S curve. Um, so, like here, I think I bring it up quite a bit. And so, yeah. Anyways, just pointing that out. I think it's kind of fun. I've always done it, and it kind of brings a playfulness to the animation. So, like bringing the arcs a little higher. Uh, yeah, once you get into a flow with Scarf, it goes pretty quick, and it's a little cathartic at times to just sit there and zone out and animate Scarf. It's definitely a different thought process than uh, animating an actual figure, but it's time consuming, especially since my character always he has a scarf on, so it's just adding that much work and time to each animation. Again, so a limit of one of the limitations of having stick figures, especially if you're not adding depth with shading, is again sometimes it's hard to notate that foreshortening you get with the limbs, like the arms and legs. It's hard to rotate the torso sometimes, and so this is really going to help. The scarf will help, like depending on which limbs it's overlapping, which ways it's sitting on the head, it can kind of give a little more dimension to the character, which has always been nice. So I've always appreciated that about the secondary motion of the scarf and kind of just how it's sitting on the character. But I've slowed it back down to 100% real time here, running at 24 frames per second, and kind of get a feel for the cycles now. Um, Again, I I probably prefer the third cycle we did there. The middle one is kind of just lulls. I mean it's just funny. Uh, Kind of just seeing what you can get away with. It works though. It's just kind of is what it is. And then the first one I was shooting for a little variation. It feels a little sticky on the ground. I probably could have framed that a little better again. Something you can play with. And it just goes to show you that I'm still messing around and figuring out run cycles and just having fun with them still. So that should wrap up this tutorial on run cycles. I saw your comments on the last tutorial video about what you guys want to see, some recommendations. I did have some fight scene choreography stuff planned already, so I'll probably be hitting that up soon. But yeah, hook it up with a like and a subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Peace. And also, just for fun, really quick, I threw that third run cycle we did into a little animation loop, um, just for clarity purpose, and you can scope it out this way as well.